Hello there, I'm Fitshortie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we're gonna be answering a question which I frequently get asked, and that is, what do I do on my period? To give you a bit of a background, I've been following a fruit-based diet for the past 4 years, which in turn has led me to some of the most remote places on the planet in search for the most rare fruits, like the jungles of Borneo. And a lot of the girls who are following me want to know, what is it that I use for my period when I'm out there in the jungle? To answer that, I guess we have to go back in time. Ever since I got my period, which was, around 11 years old, I've been using tampons. And for the majority of the time, I was perfectly okay with using the tampons. It was only when I went on the Fruitarian diet that suddenly I noticed that there's a certain stinginess and a certain itch every time I use the tampons, right? So I started researching. And this is what I found out, and it was quite scary. I found out that tampons are so white because they're actually bleached in chlorine. And chlorine, just like fluoride, is a very strong disinfectant. So this is what was itching me. As my body became clean and pure on the fruitarian diet, I became sensitive to this strong chemical that I was putting inside my body with the tampon. And I'm not sure if you guys are already on why chlorine and fluoride is so deadly for the human body and the human mind. Well, basically, even during the Second World War, Hitler would keep a stash of fluoride by the water supply to keep the prisoners in Auschwitz docile, meaning less likely to boycott, and very much like The Walking Dead. There's a lot of conspiracy theories why do we know everything about, chlorine and fluoride, and yet the government still put it in water as a disinfectant, right? There's a lot of conspiracy theories that this is one of the ways the governments manage people and avoid any kind of rebellion. But what we know for sure, and that's pure science, is that chlorine and fluoride actually calcify your pineal gland here, also known as your third eye. And when your third eye, your pineal gland, is calcified, you have no access to your intuition. You have no access to your higher self, to higher consciousness, right? You just become this walking dead person, easily agreeable to everything and what everyone else says. And that's the last thing you want to do. You want to have full access to your intuition. So basically, when I found out that tampons are full of chlorine, I knew I wasn't going to be using them. There was another option. The next best option I found was using tampons made from organic cotton. But at that point, I already knew I didn't want to be contributing to the global amount of trash produced. I mean, I imagine all the tampons I had used during my whole life. That would add up to a lot. I didn't want to be using that. And third of all, when I'm out in the jungle, the last thing I want to do is worry about my period and having to be next to a pharmacy or a store. That wasn't gonna work. Okay, sorry, I just heard a beep there. I thought the camera was not recording, but it is. But let's go back to what I was saying. When I'm out in the jungle, I didn't want to be looking for tampons for the nearest pharmacy. I didn't want to be also spending more money each month. And then I found this. I googled, I researched, I went on YouTube, and I found the solution. And I also there's other alternative solutions, like reusable pads or reusable panties, but I was kind of grossed out by those, so I was like, no, that's not gonna cut it. And then I found this, also known as the menstrual cup. By the way, this is not an advertisement. This company is not paying me to do it. I just think it's such a good product. Everybody should know about it. This is a silicone made from silicone menstrual cup. The company that makes mine is called Moon Cup, right? So this is a Moon Cup. There's 2 sizes. You can order one for women that have given birth, and this is a smaller one. I know, right? It's quite big for a smaller one, right? For women who have not given birth. So first of all, I was a bit surprised at how big it is for, the smaller one. But then, when I first used it, it was crazy. I couldn't feel it, right? So how do you use it? First of all, you rinse it. You make sure it's wet. Then you squat. You roll it into a tube like this, and you insert it, and then bah, you let it open up inside, so it stays inside you. And here's the best thing about the moon cup. You pop it in the morning, and then you're ready to go to do whatever, you know, for the next 12 or perhaps 24 hours. So I only empty it at the end of the day, and I can completely forget about my period for the whole day, which is great if you're like going sailing, or if you do any kind of sports activities, or if you're in the jungle, or if you're sitting in an exam. The last thing you want to do is, you know, keep on carrying those tampons and, you know, changing them every few hours. That's a nightmare. With this thing, you can completely forget about your period. There was also these times where I actually completely forgot about my period, and it stayed in me for the next night. So it stayed in me for 24 hours, and it was still fine, you know, completely leak proof. And then if you're worried that this is not enough for a period, well, for my period, after an entire day, it's only a third full, because on the Fruitarian diet, my period changed so much that it's only 1 or 2 days long, right? And one day only fills up a third of the cup, so it's more like spotting. If you want to know more about the period, how it's changed my period on the Fruitarian diet, comment below. I can do a separate video about it. But back to the moon cup. Why am I doing this video? I just want to tell all the other women about it. If you're not on the moon cup, on the menstrual cup, get on it, research it, order yours. I think it's just such a comfortable invention for all women. I like truly regret I haven't found it earlier, and I love the fact that it's, you know, friendly to the planet. You buy it once, you know, it stays with you for 10 years, for the rest of your life, whatever. You're not producing more rubbish, and you're not, you know, putting chlorine into your system. So very happy user of a moon cup. I have used it for 3 years now, right? I used tampons. I was still using tampons for the first year of my Fruitarian diet, and I'm never gonna go back. What do you guys use? Comment below. I would love to find out. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Tune into my other videos. Plenty more interesting stuff to come in the future. Okay, I think this is it for today. Saying bye-bye from my summer house in the north of Poland. Ciao!